Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cry But Don't Quit show. I'm your host, India Miles, and we are here today with another guest who's going to introduce herself and why she's joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. My name is Melissa Mo Boger. Mo is my nickname. I'm a 51-year-old wife and mom of 5, and I'm a neuroscientist, which means I overthink everything. I was born this way, and one of my big reasons for seeking your counsel is that I find myself constantly in a state of control, constantly in a state of needing control, and over-governing everything I do. And gosh, is that not exhausting?
It is. Thank you, Mo. So what I'm hearing you say and why you're here today for coaching and advice is that you, being a neuroscientist, being an overthinker, being a high achiever in many areas of your life, 5 children, 51, healthy, the archetype of success in all aspects, you are noticing that that came with the cost of over-governance and controlling personality.
Absolutely. And sometimes the response from people in my circle will be, well, just let Mo do it. Mo will take care of it. And so eventually what happens is you just become the person who's the doer and then the doer, and you get all this positive feedback from doing because the job gets done or people acknowledge it or you get praise or the outcome is great. But that can be exhausting. It also comes with the consequence of sometimes people in my environment thinking, wow, she's so controlling. She's so bossy. She's not just brainy, she's bossy. And that comes with a cost. On my psyche, it comes with a cost in some of my relationships. And I find myself often holding back on initiative because I don't want to always be the person who's trying to take control. But it does come very natural. And I think it also comes from a place of maybe a little bit of fear. We talked about that earlier. And I want to make some shifts and some edits.
Yeah, I get that. So again, to add to what I'm hearing you say, Mo, is and anyone that is dealing with this, being accused of being controlling, or you actually feel like that has become your identity in your friend group, in your social circles, at work, is that you're the person that people don't go to for fun or for girl chat or chit chat, but they go to get things done. You're the executor. You're not the person that they pick to hang out with and just have downtime with, and that can feel very lonely and isolating. And my advice to that is 3 parts, and I'm going to be sharing a journal prompt that I really think will help you and help the viewers. In first and foremost, the very first thing I want you to do is really sit and you make the decision for yourself. What parts of your controlling personality are responsibility, or is it coming from a place of restriction where there are aspects that you're protecting yourself? And only you can decide that, instead of letting all of that narrative or the experiences you have decide that for you. What I'm hearing, Mo, is that I want to be liked. There's a lot of likable qualities about me, but what has become the over definitive identity, because I am also a very driven person. I'm also a very successful person. Everything I set my mind to, I'm not just going to do it well. I'm going to excel at it. That has taken, precedence. So now balancing that out gets to be you taking that power back. And you can't do that if you have not sat with it and you made a line in the sand to say, hey, I'm not going to let them write my story for me.
Because sometimes what can happen is you feel like you're being liked because of your performance.
You are.
And not your personality or the gifts. And so it's like you're appreciated for the outcome and for the constant delivering and execution. But I am also just a person.
Correct.
I'm not just a personality type. And so having those relationships and being able to just let go. How do you be the quarterback and also set the ball down? And that's been the story of my life.
Yeah. So yes, with the sitting and following this journal prompt and really asking yourself those introspective questions, you get to reveal what parts of that is coming from an unhealed place that you're protecting yourself from. Okay. Because if you do not sit with that and resolve that, what happens is you then start seeking outward approval and validation for that. And yes, you are being chosen based on your performance, not your personality. They're not even, I promise you're a different person when you get undressed, you're hanging out with your kids, you're with your husband, and these people don't get to see that person. And you're choosing that.
Totally.
Okay. So then on the other 2 points is that even after you decide that, then you've got to put that in motion. Understanding the different personality types that we are, there is controlling and then there's controller.
Okay.
And once I learned that we have similar personalities, that I am fed off of challenge. I love a good obstacle, a good critical thinking exercise. I love it. I love, okay, I just lost 10 pounds. Let me lose 20. Like, I just like challenging myself. That's not a bad quality. But if you're around other personality types, like supporters who will be on the sidelines, go, Mo, go.
That's my husband.
You're going to be the one trying to get them out there to run that marathon with you. You've got to understand how to meet everyone, and they've got to understand how to meet you and that usefulness together. The other personality types are the analyzer, the person that is very painfully slow to move. They read books, they read the cliff notes, they, study, they plan everything down to the minutia before they're going to move forward. And there's nothing you can do to speed them up. Right. And they are most of the time introverted or ambient, like they don't really need too much of people. And then you have the promoter. You have the person that everybody likes. And the controller wants to be a promoter. They want to be the person that everybody's like, oh, I want to go have drinks with this person. Oh, did you see what she had on? Like, the promoter's the big personality. But they envy the internal, organization and execution and implementation that controllers have, and some technical people. So again, we always want what we didn't get. But on the other end, the second piece to my 3-part advice for you is to sit with it. You choose what is coming from a place of responsibility because you have kind of constructed your life to be high performance, or is it coming from a place of restriction? Once you've decided that, then you get to align yourself with people that appreciate not just your performance, but your personality. And you get to be vulnerable, and you get to be fun to be around, and you get to be championed for that person instead of trying to kind of shape shift into these other personality avatars that you're not. The last bit of advice that I would give you, which is the third piece, is to stretch out the periods of time in between personal development. Okay, I just finished that chapter. Now I'm going to go to the next. Like, stretch that out just a little bit, where you do not have to constantly be a work in progress on yourself.
You saw that I brought a personal development book in my bag when I got here.
You don't have to do that. You don't constantly. It does something, like you spoke about psyche. You don't constantly have to be pulling yourself apart or fixing yourself or repairing something when this is a human experience. Being human sometimes gets to be messy. And for someone that's saying that you struggle with not just that over governance, but there's a big chapter of your life where you constructed the way you wanted your life to look.
Right.
Now you have that.
I do.
So you get to enjoy it and sit in it and teach yourself how to appreciate it and be content there before you find the next mountain to climb. Or you will continuously be on that treadmill and that goalpost keeps moving. It never ends. Okay, if you see the people that do plastic surgery and they just started with like one little fix, and then before you know it, they have a whole new face. That's what happens when we don't actually create some type of boundary for ourselves to say, you know what, I just don't want to be exhausted anymore with trying to fix something about myself, repair or maintain something about this part of my human experience that there's no way to control the hormones that we're changing through. The 5 children, there's just an aspect of life that gets to be chaotic and messy, and it's just like a junk drawer in your kitchen that you just have accepted that's the drawer for that.
Right.
How's that land for you?
It's interesting because I think about this, you're asking me to assess my life experience with 2 lenses. One is the lens of the governance and being a person of responsibility and a person who gets things done. That has merit, right? But then the other one is this space that says, do I really need to have control over that? Do I really need to take control over that? Do I really need to want the control, seek the control? Because Am I seeking validation? Am I seeking security? Am I seeking solution? I want to be able to sit and assess my behavior before I behave. And that's the funny thing about controllers is they just respond. They just step up. I sometimes think about if there was an emergency and someone needed CPR, I'm the one that's jumping in, not because I'm medically qualified, but because that's the controller in me. And I'm saying, you call 911, you know, you in the pink blouse. That's how that goes, right? Well, 9 other people will stand and just look around. Sometimes that responsiveness is actually, it comes with a massive cost because I'm constantly responding. And I can feel like I am not sitting.
Well, we respond from a place of habit. It's habitual. That is a strength. I literally just did that. It was a car accident right in front of my gym. I literally ran down 3 flights of steps, and I'm like, pull them out. Like, that's okay. There were 10 other people that didn't know what to do. But you save somebody's life if you do that. Like, that's not a problem. The problem is you've trained your nervous system to respond. So now you've got to train your nervous system to sit.
Right.
It's a weakness. Controllers don't like to admit, but it is harder for us not to act or not to jump in than it is for us to do it, because habitually our nervous system knows or has been trained or has been conditioned through environment to say, nobody else did. Nobody else stepped up when I did. You know, when nobody else was there. So over the years, that has become self-protection. So what we can do now, anyone who has ever trained their body, their mind for any race, this is your new race. Your new race is that, hey, if I always step up, and if it's not a life or death situation, what would it look like if I didn't? What would it look like if I sat in the discomfort of maybe not being the person that spoke up, or not being the connector, or not being the person that checks on everybody? Right. Hey, I haven't heard from my 10 friends. They haven't called me because they just know by 11 p.m. I'm going to call them and let them know. Like, what if you removed yourself from that role temporarily and redesigned your life around the people that balance that for you? Because yes, it is exhausting to carry the emotional burdens and responsibility of others, which is not yours. And that comes from somewhere. So when you sit with it and you can figure out where it is, then you can train your nervous system to do something else. And if you don't do that, then the next time I see you, then it's just, hey, this is who I've decided to be. And you have that right too. Right. You can just be Mo, what's your Instagram, Mo?
The brainy boss lady. Imagine it, the neuroscientist who can't regulate her nervous system. That's embarrassing.
But that's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that you're doing all of this because that is the way you have garnered love. You have garnered a role. And now that role doesn't fit who you are and who you've become. Now you actually want to be loved for who you are. And that first starts with you deciding, who am I? Okay. And once you like those things, you're like, you know what? No, you can't put that narrative on me. Yeah. I'm a sharpshooter. That's a good thing. And if you don't like it, you're not my people. Yeah. So good for you.
Sometimes I say I'm whiskey in a teacup. That's not for everybody.
It's not.
I recognize that part of what's happened is that's also me creating a narrative around being okay and comfortable with being a controlling personality. And the God's honest truth is, I don't always want to be in charge. I don't always want to lead. I don't always want to step up, because what if I'm stepping on someone's opportunity to step up? What if I'm hindering their ability to lead by my constant need to step in? And I think about that as a mom of 5. And I've got a 23-year-old, I've got a 10-year-old, and everybody in between. It can't just be mom stepping in, or I will step on them.
And I can't wait to hear from you guys about this, because we cannot be the only women. I'm 40 this year, and I can promise you I've spent the last 25 years of my life being accused of being difficult. And this is the last 2 years of my life have been so freeing, because I did what I'm suggesting that you do. I sat with it. I came back from a trip, and God said it was going to be different, and it was going to look different. Friends were going to look different. And India, just trust the process. And I sat with it. I sat with every impulse I had, every impulse to want to make a phone call, or want to be the first to apologize, or want to be the peacemaker. I didn't be I was like, you know what? Instead of being the peacemaker, I'm going to be the hellion. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to roar. I'm going to cry. I'm going to yell. I'm going to do whatever to get all these emotions up, and I'm going to let the chips fall as they may. And I freed myself from that that self-imposed prison that I was too much, that I was too hard, I was too whatever.
Right.
And a lot of it had to do with the wrong relationships. I mean, 99% of it had to do with I stayed the same. I had to remove myself from certain environments. Instead of me asking my church friends to go hiking with me and them all telling me, oh, you're this, you're that for wanting to hike, I went to people who were actually hikers.
Yeah.
Like, duh, but you don't feel that way when you're in it and you love people and they are celebrating you for being this strong person, this amazing person, this executor, and they're all championing that. What they're not saying is you make me feel small. You bring out my insecurities. I want to be like you. These are all prompts that I'm going to put on this journal for you, where if you're hearing those things, those should now be indicators, not for Mo to do more, but for Mo to get the hell out. Like, don't associate with those type of people anymore so that you don't have to feel, and yes, you are hindering someone else's growth when you continuously step in and solve all their problems for them. And, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want somebody to think for them and do for them and cover all of I would have loved to have had that. So you became this amazing woman because you didn't have that. And now that you are this woman, now your challenge is the opposite of the women that are striving to be like that. Your challenge is to appreciate that there is no more mountains to climb unless you choose to. You have done it, and now you get to figure out what it was supposed to look like to enjoy it and design your life around that. And if people are not making you belly laugh and they're not making you not have to explain, if they inherently, the energy makes you feel like you've got to like kind of withhold something, you are in the wrong company.
Right.
Okay.
It's funny that you said that about climbing, hiking with friends. So I'm running a marathon right now.
I did not know that.
To run a marathon.
That doesn't surprise me.
Do you know what? I didn't invite anybody but one person to do it with me.
See?
And it was a person who I trust and I admire, and I knew she would be my accountability partner. But it's amazing because I didn't just put that invitation out to anybody. So I think that I'm already stepping into that place where I'm governing my circle. But the other thing is that I knew she wouldn't expect anything of me. We would both run our race with our own personalities and our own style and our own outcomes. I didn't have to have control over hers, and she wouldn't have control over mine. So maybe I'm starting to get there.
You're already there. And bigger than that, you said that she wouldn't expect anything from you. What you did was audit. You audited yourself, not so much putting it out there. If you would have put it out there, there would have been people showed up out of obligation.
Right.
There would have been people that showed up because, it's fun to be around you. Like, they just need something to do. What you did was you created the avatar, a person, but you created an image of what you needed that would really support you in this journey. And that's like number one in this journey is being selfish. That most controllers are the most selfless, giving,